Hello there, all booze, ghouls, and the Gorgon binary. I'm Josh, and before we even get started talking about music, I wanted to share something about myself. I love horror movies. I'm not an expert, but I've seen a lot of them. You know, Evil Dead 2, John Carpenter's The Thing, Get Out, Train to Busan, Candyman, Thanksgiving. So I thought that for Halloween this year, I could try making some music that maybe evokes, a bit of a sense of dread, similar to the kind of movies I like so much. You know that scene in Nightmare on Elm Street, like the classic one, where Tina is dreaming and she goes out into the alleyway and Freddy is there and his arms are super long and then he goes, "Time for hugs." Imagine that combined with the intro to Stranger Things. That's the kind of energy I'm going for. So let's get started. So I figure step one is I want to get a kind of like moody but also terrifying arpeggio sound going on. So I've got the Korg Prologue here. Now, what I'm doing, you don't need a Korg Prologue. Like basically any two oscillator synth, subtractive synth, you can accomplish what I'm going to do. But I just like the Prologue and I happen to have one, which makes it very easy to use. So what I figure I would start with is I am going to I have an initialized patch here. It's just a saw wave, very classic. And the first thing I'm going to do is bring in the second oscillator, also a saw, at the same octave, so that I thicken up the sound a little bit. Step two, I find that when you filter out a lot of the higher tones using a low pass filter, things start to sound kind of underwatery, but maybe it's just me. I find it's moody. It's a little creepy, which is what we're going for. Next, I'm going to bring up the resonance, and finally, key tracking. We're starting to get towards the mood that I want. And we haven't really done a lot. A lot of at least for me, a lot of the sound design aspect of synth sounds when I'm making music really isn't that involved. Sometimes you can get really fun and experimental, but how often do you really need to get super wild and experimental? I guess unless you make super wild and experimental music. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to add an effect. Not every synthesizer has an effects section, but you can always use an external pedal. Honestly, a pedal would probably work better than what's built into most synthesizers. The effects in this synth, I think, they get the job done. They're not amazing, but over here in the mod section, I'm going to set it to chorus. Now, I don't own an old Juno synth. I wish I did. That's a lot of money to drop on an old piece of gear. And especially when there are such great options like the Prologue and other, much cheaper and really excellent polyphonic synths on the market. So what I do instead to try to get some of that classic older synth sound is I've got a chorus effect on here. And if you want to hear how it sounds, so this is it without the chorus. Here it is with. And of course, I can change how much of it is added. Something else I'm going to do is I'm going to add release to the envelope. So before it was just I let go and the note ends. I turn up the release and now I let go, the note rings out for a bit. And when you're patching, it's all to taste. There's no hard and fast rule, you need this amount of release or reverb or chorus or what have you. Step two is, I'm going to save this patch because otherwise I would lose it once I turn off the Prologue. But step three is we're going to move to the overhead camera with the Deluge, and I'm going to start sequencing some drums and controlling the Prologue from the Deluge. So I will see you there. So here we are on the Deluge. Now I've already got a little bit of an arpeggio sequenced on the Prologue, which is off screen right over here, and I've added some reverb through the Deluge. So it sounds like this. And now I think we could start adding some other elements. So maybe I want to add some drums. I always think that it sounds creepy if you have a drum paired up like this, because then it's like a heartbeat. And heartbeats are creepy because they make us think about our mortality. I didn't mean for that to be that depressing, but it was. So with just like the kick drum there, and I added a little bit of reverb to it, I think now it's a good time to add some bass. I have a patch on here called Crunchy Bass that I like to use as a bass, in case you couldn't tell from the name. In this case, it's a little bit less crunchy because I've added a filter, but I think that what I would like to do is have a pattern that goes from a D minor to an A to a B flat, and that is the entire bass pattern. I'm going to make a patch that is just noise, which means I'm going to bring the oscillator down and I'm going to bring noise up. Oh, my mistake. This is not an initialized patch. That was an existing patch. All right, now I'm going to bring the oscillator down. I'm going to bring the noise up. We've got white noise. Now it might sound calming, but watch what happens when I start adding a little bit of distortion. It gets a lot more harsh. Which is what I'm going for, because I want to get just a kind of slightly off-kilter sound, and I'm going to connect the volume of it to, let me see, where is master level to, well, it's already connected to velocity, but I'm going to connect it to LFO2. And I'm going to make LFO2 a sine wave. And next I'm going to bring down the filter and turn up the reverb and a little bit of delay, and turn the level down. And that's going to just sit in the background and add a little bit of weirdness. So, final thing that I think I will add, I have a patch on here called VHS Triangle, which sounds like this. And I'm going to add that doing another arpeggio high up, and I'm going to bring the pitch on that, or sorry, not the pitch, the volume on that down, so that all we're going to get will be the slightest hint that there's something up in the high end, like a ghost. So that's what it sounds like now. I bring the level down, and I think like before, I'm going to turn the reverb up really high. And I will also bring up the release. And my goal there really is just to make it sound kind of foreboding. I want to thank you so much for hanging out. If you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like, maybe hitting subscribe. If you feel so inclined, unless you're already subscribed, please don't press it because then you'll unsubscribe. And if you're already subscribed, hey, thanks for being here. And if you're not subscribed, also like, thanks for being here, but consider subscribing if you enjoyed the video. But anyway, happy Halloween. I hope this song puts you in the Halloween spirit. I'm just gonna play what we've got here, maybe play around with the filters so we can listen to it. And yeah, it's been cool, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you so much, and bye. I guess I should wave this way. Bye.